Hello, welcome to Exploring Languages. My name is Enrico Torre, and this is my YouTube channel about language and languages. This is just to let you know that should you be interested in knowing a bit more about this channel, you may have a look at the short introductory video you can find by following this link, which is also reported in the description. Now, I will leave you to the new video. Bye! Hello! Welcome back to Exploring Languages. As usual, this is Enrico Torre, and this is the second part of my comparison between Spanish and Italian. Before we start, just let me remind you that if you prefer, you may watch this very same video in Spanish or in Italian by following the links in the description. Si prefieren, pueden ver este mismo video en castellano haciendo clic en este enlace en la descripción. O se preferite, potete guardare questo stesso video in italiano cliccando su quest'altro link nella descrizione. So, last time I spoke about the similarities and, above all, some differences between Spanish and Italian in terms of pronunciation and orthography. Today it is going to be a bit more challenging because we're going to speak about grammar as well as the lexicon, but let us start soft with the lexicon, just having a look at some false friends. I have been careful to choose examples which I couldn't find in other videos or blog posts, except one. Except one, because it is too important. It is so common a mistake. So common a mistake, no matter how often it is mentioned, how much exposure it gets, people always repeat it. Repeat the mistake. So please, for the Lord's sake, master it. The Spanish word embarazada means pregnant, not embarrassed. So it would correspond to the Italian word incinta, not imbarazzata. The Italian word imbarazzata or imbarazzato, because men can be embarrassed as well, can't we? Corresponds to the Spanish word avergonzada or avergonzado. So please learn it straight away. Don't come and tell me you are pregnant where you are actually embarrassed. Okay? If you're a man, I'm sorry you can't be pregnant, but well, that's life. So get over it and learn this difference. Embarazada in Spanish means pregnant. Imbarazzata in Italiano means embarrassed. Okay? Okay, uncle now. Let's go on. This is an example I really dig. The expression enhorabuena in Spanish means congratulations, corresponding roughly to the Italian complimenti. In Italian there is a phrase which sounds similar, alla buon'ora. Nevertheless, the meaning of this expression is it was about time, broadly corresponding to the Spanish por fin. So, you can see that these two expressions in the two languages sound similar, but in Spanish, enhorabuena has a very positive connotation, whereas in Italian, alla buon'ora has a very negative connotation. Another quite interesting example is the Spanish adverb todavía, which means still, yet, corresponds to the Italian ancora. The Italian word tuttavia, instead, which means however, corresponds to the Spanish sin embargo. Let's go on. Another very interesting example is the case of the Spanish word lupa, means magnifying glass and corresponds to the Italian lente di ingrandimento, which is actually very close to magnifying glass. The Italian word lupa, she-wolf, in Spanish is loba. I really like this one. The Spanish verb prender means to turn on and corresponds to the Italian accendere. The Italian verb prendere, to take, corresponds to the Spanish verb tomar. Another one, which is interesting, the Spanish noun espalda, back, corresponds to the Italian schiena, whereas the Italian spalla, shoulder, in Spanish is hombro. Oh, here we have a maze of verbs. The Spanish verb salir, to go out, corresponds to the Italian uscire, whereas the Italian verb salire means to go up and corresponds to the Spanish subir. In turn, the Spanish subir corresponds to the Italian salire, of course, but the Italian subire means to suffer and corresponds to the Spanish padecer. It's very interesting. Another one, just another one. Turn into vegetables and fruit. The Spanish noun manzana means apple, corresponding to the Italian mela, whereas the Italian melanzana, aubergine, corresponds to the Spanish berenjena. Now let us turn to gender change. The issue of gender change is very important because there are quite a few words in the two languages which sound similar and have the same meaning, but they differ in their gender. Secondary school teachers report, thank you Anna Schericasco, that once students learn these words with the wrong gender, this mistake tends to stick, sink in, stick, and stay with them even at later stages of their learning path. So it is very important that students learn these nouns with their correct gender in the two languages so that they can carry this information with them during their whole language journey. Now, due to time limitations, we can only have a look at a few examples, but there are many more. Now, first of all, a few nouns which are feminine in Spanish but masculine in Italian. La leche, the milk, is feminine in Spanish but masculine in Italian, il latte. La sal, the salt, is feminine in Spanish, but it is masculine, il sale, in Italian. La flor, the flower, is feminine in Spanish, but it is masculine in Italian, il fiore. At the same time, there are nouns which are masculine in Spanish but feminine in Italian. This is the case of el aire, the air, which in Italian is l'aria, or el valle, in Spanish, the valley, which in Italian is la valle, or el tigre, the tiger, which is masculine in Spanish, but it is feminine in Italian, la tigre. So it is very, very important that these kind of nouns are learned correctly at the onset. Okay, so we now can have a look at the scary bit of the video. Grammar. No, actually, there is nothing scary about grammar. Let's say it now, and let's have a look. Let's start with articles. Well, the Spanish system is pretty straightforward. Masculine singular, el uno. el gato, un gato. The cat, a cat. Masculine plural, los, unos. Los gatos, unos gatos. The cats, some cats. Feminine singular, la, una. La manzana, una manzana. The apple, an apple. Feminine plural, las, unas. Las manzanas, unas manzanas. The apple, some apples. Well, the Italian system is a bit more difficult. There is indeed a default condition, which is not too different from the Spanish system. So we have masculine singular, il, gatto, un gatto. The cat, a cat. Masculine plural, i, dei, i gatti, dei gatti. Notice that dei is a complex preposition rather than an article. The cats, some cats. Feminine singular, la, una, la mela, una mela. The apple, some apple. Feminine plural, le, delle, le mele, delle mele. The apples, some apples. Again, delle is a complex preposition rather than an article. Then there are exceptions, because when a masculine noun begins with a Z or a consonant cluster followed by an S plus another consonant or a P plus another consonant, the article system changes. So the singular articles are lo and uno. Lo zaino, uno zaino. The backpack, a backpack. Lo studio, uno studio. The study, a study. Lo psicologo, uno psicologo. The psychologist, a psychologist. And when it's plural, we have gli or degli. And degli again is a complex preposition. So gli zaini, degli zaini. The backpacks, some backpacks. Gli stadi, degli stadi. The studies, some studies. Gli psicologi, degli psicologi. The psychologists, some psychologists. Also, when they are followed by a vowel, the articles lo, la, and una are contracted to L apostrophe or un apostrophe. So here, yes, the Italian system is quite more complicated than the Spanish one. Let us now turn to possessives in attributive position, which are quite similar in the two languages, except that in the singular persons, in Italian, they change their form depending on the gender of the following noun. So we have mio, mia, miei, mie, tuo, tua, tuoi, tuoe, suo, sua, suoi, sue, whereas in Spanish we just have mi, mis, tu, tus, su, sus. When we turn to the predicative position, things tend to change a bit because Spanish as well adapt the possessives to the gender of the following noun, except in the third person singular, which remains sus. Then, if we approach the relationship between possessives and the terminants, we see that the two languages differ in the fact that in Spanish you don't put a definite article in front of the possessive, whereas in Italian you have two. So that in Spanish we have mi amiga and mis amigas, but in Italian we have la mia amica, le mie amiche. So we have the sentence es mi amiga in Spanish, or son mis amigas, but in Italian we have è la mia amica, sono le mie amiche. Now, things are a bit different when we consider other determinants, such as the indefinite article, because in Spanish the possessive cannot be preceded by an indefinite article, so the noun comes to the front, and we have una amiga mía, unas amigas mías, other determinant just behave similarly. Esta amiga mía, estas amigas mías, tres amigas mías, algunas amigas mías, muchas amigas mías, but then we have la mayoría de mis amigas, because here we have a periphrasis. In Italian, there is no such a problem. The possessive is normally preceded by an indefinite article or any other determinant. Una mia amica, questa mia amica, delle mie amiche, queste mie amiche, tre mie amiche, alcune mie amiche, molte mie amiche, la maggior parte delle mie amiche. Now, let us have a look at another interesting difference between standard Spanish and standard Italian. What happens when we have an animate object in a sentence? But in Spanish, it is expressed as an indirect object. El árbitro ha expulsado al jugador. The referee sent the player off. No he visto a Carla. I didn't see Carla. El gato corre al ratón. The cat chases the rat. In Italian, it is treated as a direct object without preposition. L'arbitro ha espulso il giocatore. The referee sent the player off. Non ho visto Carla. I didn't see Carla. Il gatto rincorre il topo. The cat chases the rat. This would naturally lead us to the question, what is a direct object, what is an indirect object? But let us not get into theoretical stuff, and instead let's just go on to the next topic, which is very interesting, the double indirect object, which in Spanish is standard. A mí me gusta el café. I like coffee. Le daré un libro a Mario. I will give Mario a book. Te lo contaré a ti. I will tell you. Whereas in Italian, it is incorrect and strictly incorrect. Like at primary school, we are taught, do not do this. No double indirect objects. So in Italian, people will have to say, a me piace il caffè. I like coffee. Darò un libro a Mario. I will give Mario a book. Te lo racconterò. I will tell you. You can choose either version actually. If you want, you can say mi piace il caffè. Gli darò un libro. Lo racconterò a te. But only one indirect object is allowed, at least in standard Italian. Then, of course, in non-standard variety, you will find some double indirect objects. So, as a final summary, in these two videos, we have seen that Spanish and Italian have a common heritage, and they are surely similar in many respects. To some extent, they are also mutually intelligible, but, and it is quite a big but, there are also many differences. Some are quite universally, almost universally recognized. And in the previous slides, I purposefully avoided to include the burro example because everybody mentions it. However, quite a few of these differences tend to slip under the radar, and I think that they should be taken more seriously. Now, I have a blessing to give because the choice of examples was the result of teamwork with Ana, a native of Pamplona/Iruña, Spain, who's been living in Italy for about 25 years, where she works as a Spanish teacher. Thank you very much, Ana. Es que ricasco. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching the video. As usual, you can find the content on my website by following the links in the description. Also, you can watch this very same video in Spanish or in Italian by, again, following the links in the description. This is everything for me, but now it's your turn. If you've enjoyed the video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell icon next to the subscribe button. Now for the question time, I would like to know if you speak at least one of the two languages and what you make of their similarities and differences. Also, I would like to ask you what are your favorite false friends, and I'd like to know if you have any suggestions or requests for future videos. As usual, please leave a comment. Now before I go, let me remind you to follow Exploring Languages on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also LinkedIn. Okay, now I'm going for real. I'll see you in 2 weeks with a new video. Have fun, have a good time, and keep exploring languages. Bye!